What up, everybody? We're here, Lincoln Financial Field, Philadelphia. You see the final score. I hate that they got it to 55. That really makes it look a lot uglier than it was. This thing was a lot closer for a lot of the game, but let's be real. Philly was a better team. They dominated the lines of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. This is Beltway Football, Monumental Sports Network. The magical season for the Commanders has come to an end in the NFC title game at the hands of the damn Philadelphia Eagles. They were the better team tonight. They were helped by the refs, and they were helped by Washington. The Commanders had clean sheets throughout the playoffs. They put the ball on the ground today. The turnovers killed them. That late Eckler fumble was an absolute killer. Hello, Mitchell.
Listen, 2 of the 3 games they played against the Eagles found a way to turn them over consistently.
Yep.
And that was the difference. The refs were bad. The holding call on the 4th and 5 throw to A.J. Brown absolutely should have been called. A.J. Brown probably should have gotten unsportsmanlike.
There's a lot.
The Saints were still out of late hit. All those were tough calls. But at the end of the day, you can't turn the ball over the way the Commanders did and expect to come out and win. And we saw the Eagles play a game today that Washington played the first 2 weeks of the playoffs.
Yeah.
They played a flawless, clean game. They kept ahead of the sticks. They played well on defense. They didn't give up the big plays, and they didn't turn the ball over. And it's been a hell of a season for these guys, but it's a disappointing way for this thing to end. For
sure. DJ, if we can, if you're listening on the podcast, go watch on the app. Let's set the scene here, because normally after one of these games, by the time we start doing the stream, it's pretty empty. But because this was an NFC Championship game, I mean, DJ, I don't know if you can show, they just did the trophy, the podium over there. I mean, there's people everywhere. There's
confetti all over
the ground.
I gotta be honest, JP.
It just sucks. It's a bit of a gut punch being out here, frankly.
Listen, it was bad enough watching this game as we were watching it, and especially how it ended. It was bad enough standing out here watching them award the trophy.
I didn't watch. I went in the locker room.
But watching these Eagles fans run around throwing the football, celebrating, fake throwing confetti, and all this stuff. That's the stuff that really is gnawing at me right now.
I do think I want to just. Well, we're dropping stuff.
Yeah, things are happening.
I want to be clear, though, dude. And people may disagree with me. Thank you, DJ. People may disagree. The better team did win tonight.
Absolutely.
And we can argue the difference between Washington and Philly. I think, the fact they played 3 times and had split prior to tonight. I don't think Philly's what's that final score, 30 points better?
Yeah,
Philly's not 30 points better.
Absolutely
Tonight,
not.
Washington didn't play their best. The penalties killed them. Penalties kept coming at terrible times. The McNichols fumble right after a touchdown was just a killer. The Eckler fumble was a killer. I don't know how you don't at least look at Biotish having the football after that pileup. I do think Philly kind of got possession right away on the fumble, but
it's at least close.
It's a pretty quick whistle.
Look at it, yeah.
But you and I talked about coming into this that my concern was I thought Philly was better on the O-line and the D-line, and I think we saw that tonight. I think they controlled the line of scrimmage and all the other things. I mean, look at Saquon's stats: 15 for $118 with 3 touchdowns. Hurts. 20-28. For all the talk of let Hurts beat you, he did. He was quite good. 20-28 for 245 and a touchdown.
That's the best Hurts has looked. And I agree. Listen,
is this his first ever playoff win, going over 150?
Over 155, his first career playoff win. And listen, they dominated.
I want it just real clear. If one of these
Yahoos
that is throwing this football around hits me with a football, I'm going freaking ballistic.
Listen, you want some stream numbers? You and I, a beat down on an Eagles fan, might do that. But listen, the Eagles definitely dominated the O-line and D-line. We knew coming into this game that was going to be the case. And I think the fact that Hurts was able to pick apart the secondary as much as he was, and
Lattimore was a problem.
Luvu did a really good job a couple times jumping snap counts.
Totally.
We'll get to the tush push stuff, I'm sure, at some
that
point.
Was wild.
But
I'm going to award you a touchdown.
The fact that they weren't able to get to Hurts and consistently was a problem. I think one of the biggest places this team needs to improve in the offseason is that defensive end. You need a real edge rusher that can get to the quarterback, but you also need these edge rushers that can set the edge. And that first Saquon Barkley 60-yard touchdown
they were attacking the edges, the perimeter runs all day.
They did that last time back in D.C.
Yeah.
But that first run, you see Luvu get turned around inside a little bit. He reads it and tries to get out, but when the first step is inside, it's tough to recover. Bobby Wagner gets kind of caught up in the wash, and all of a sudden Saquon's out. And, there were guys could have made a tackle, here or there, but at the end of the day, it's been a consistent issue for this team all year long, and it showed up more today or as much today as it has.
Well, and I think part of that is Philly. Like,
absolutely,
you got to credit Philly. Now, I thought there was kind of some hope when Juergens was out. Dickerson had to go to center. They started the kid Steen with an N.
Tyler Steen.
And then Dickerson goes out. Juergens has to come in when he wasn't fit enough to start.
And then Tyler Steen is staying in at guard.
And they were still able to just move the ball. I mean, dude, it's weird to me Saquon doesn't get that many carries. End of the third quarter, he had 12 carries.
They said that he was dealing with a little bit of a calf or ankle. But to that point,
although Shipley looked outrageous when he got in. Gainwell left with a concussion. Yeah. Right. I mean, I get it.
But the Saquon injuries or whatever he was dealing with kind of points to the fact of some of the tackling issues this team had. They kept trying to go high on Saquon. He kept bouncing off them like a pinball, and, they weren't able to get him down. Commanders should have been happy that Saquon only carried the ball, whatever the number 15. Was, 15 times.
Yeah.
Because that number this thing could have been, that could have really gotten out of hand.
I want to be clear. I mean, this was a hell of a year for Washington. Most of the guys in there, especially after the initial emotions, as guys were leaving, we were all kind of shaking hands. Hell of a year.
Yeah.
You left it all out there, and that is the overarching point. And we'll get to that. We'll have like a season-long appreciation pod. But in the moment of kind of getting your ass kicked in Philly, it's not exactly season-long appreciation pod time.
We're also talking about an NFC Championship game, and obviously,
and that Philly is loaded,
right?
Dude. That roster is loaded.
This Philly roster is 2 to 3 to 4 years ahead of where Washington is. And like you said, we're going to get to the feel good, happy, look at everything that's happened this season. You're seeing some of those great moments.
I mean, what stood out to me just now in the locker room is you saw, a lot of emotion. I saw Terry and Diami talking. I saw Eckler and B-Rob talking. Adam Peters, he does this after every game.
He does.
He goes to every player in the locker room. He makes his way around and just daps everybody up. And I saw Peters and Chin have this really long kind of conversation and the guys in there started talking about, we know we're never going to have this group together again.
Right.
These decisions are going to come, and they're going to come fast. And coaching carousel stuff is going to come fast. Like, I don't know that you're losing a coordinator. That's all anybody thinks about. There's going to be other guys you lose that get promotions to other jobs. Like some of these hot younger names that we've talked about all year, Rye, Blau, Simmons. Like people are going to make some calls, man.
Brian Johnson.
Yeah.
There's some names.
There's going to be some fast-moving parts
as
here.
we talk about Adam Peters and some of these vets, Jeremy Chin, there are a bunch of
Wagner,
guys that were cast off into the NFL abyss. And you look at the hit rate of Adam Peters and everything that he was able to bring in here, it speaks to the organization, it speaks to the coaching staff, it speaks to the front office. And you talked about the post-game locker room. You had Terry it was the largest show of leadership that I've seen from Terry McLaurin in his years in Washington. We walked into the locker room a good 20, 30 minutes after the game, and Terry's still in, not pads, but basically uniform, and he's walking around, dapping up, hugging each guy, talking to them, and that's the kind of leadership that you want. And I think, for all the years of talking about culture, you're seeing that kind of stuff. Jeremy Reeves, was distraught or borderline distraught.
Yeah. He's an emotional guy.
He's an emotional guy. You think about everything he's been through.
Sure. Losing his mom a couple years ago.
Sure, the injuries and being a quote-unquote just a special teams guy.
Right.
But to have all the opportunities. And, these guys, as much as they're excited about where this franchise is, there's no guarantees that this thing's ever going to happen again.
I mean, look at Detroit, right? Detroit was 100% going to the Super Bowl this year. They got knocked out by Washington. Every year's its own entity. Every week's its own entity. These are living, breathing organisms, and there's zero guarantee with it. A lot of reasons to be excited. We're not trying to be pessimistic here, but one guy, we talked about all the hits, and the hits are significant of all the things that have gone well. The Lattimore thing today was
bad.
He plays on such an edge that sometimes it's just too far gone. Now, A.J. Brown ripped his helmet off. I don't know how that's only a penalty on Lattimore, but throughout that drive, the PI that was right there.
Yeah, with
that's probably the easiest call that refs had all
right.
year. I mean, he was all over him.
Devonta Smith over there.
I am not ready to make a proclamation about what Lattimore is or isn't and what the trade is or isn't, but you hope that it looks different next year.
Absolutely. That's something that I am sure Joe Witt and Dan Quinn want to kind of rein in. And for all the frustration about that play, where A.J. Brown should have gotten, an unsportsmanlike. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, the one back in D.C., got his head ripped off.
Yeah.
C.J. Gardner-Johnson got the expulsion. So
what is the term?
What's
coexisting? Well, I can't think of when each side gets a penalty. Offsetting?
Offsetting.
Yeah.
That should have been offsetting over there in the end zone with A.J. Brown. And quite frankly, I think it changed a little bit the outlook of this game, because Marshawn Lattimore is fired up and has one unsportsmanlike. He has to play a certain type of way the rest of the way, or he's getting ejected. Meanwhile, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith can go in there and needle, do what they got to do to try and get him out. And ultimately, I think that's why you saw a little bit of kind of Lattimore being left on one side of the field instead of traveling or doing anything extra with A.J. Brown, because they were worried about kind of how fired up all those things were going to get. So things are happening behind us.
Hold on, DJ, show the world. Get out of this B-roll. Show the world Big Dom. Oh, dude, that's what's
Pete Davidson.
Pete Davidson, yeah.
We got Pete Davidson. We got Big Dom. We got things happening over here. Listen, these Eagle folks are excited. I saw Pete trying to have a couple one-handed catches over there. Did you make any of them? We made one. All right, hey, one's good. One's pretty good. So.
All right, we're just showing you what's going on.
We're just showing you what's going on around here.
I don't know who the dude in the middle is.
No, neither do I. Quite frankly, I'm impressed that I knew who Pete Davidson was.
Dude, that's a hell of a pull. I knew him, but I couldn't think of the name.
I know I am bad with celebrities.
He also, for the dude that's always supposedly like drugged out, he seems completely with it. Trying to make one-handed catches. Answered your question, just shouting from the peanut gallery.
Peanut butter and jelly gallery.
That was. I don't get. What does that mean?
I don't know. Just trying to shoehorn PB&J's in there.
So, dude,
my world,
I want to be honest. Like, I have a bunch of nitpicky things here, but Philly was a better team. Like, I don't love that they chased the points early in the second quarter with the two-point conversion. But that's who they are. That's how they're wired. They're going. The math will tell them to get more points all the time.
How about let's get to an interesting and maybe important moving forward.
The Luvu thing?
I was going to say the tush-push stuff.
Yeah, which is the Luvu thing.
Yeah, but I was going to start with, you had the Lattimore penalty. They end up going for 2 because they're half the distance.
Yeah.
And they shut down that tush-push there. And that doesn't happen often here in Philly. And obviously, late in the game, you get down here. Have you seen the referee report yet? I haven't had a chance to.
I wonder if
we asked for an NFL pool report to get some answers on what happened with that.
Luvu's trying to time the snap. Right. How can you possibly say, hey, we're going to award them a touchdown? I read something that the awarding of a touchdown is supposed to be for something crazy, like a fan jumps out of the crowd or something. Like, it's not supposed to be.
Well, and they're going hard counts. They're doing all these different things to try and. Listen, that play is borderline unstoppable, right? I mean, like, we've seen them be.
They stopped it at the goal line, though.
Right. They've been so successful. I love that Dan Quinn, Joe Witt, this defense decided to try and attack that a different way, that they tried to do something different, because clearly lining up 11 on 11 and trying to get underneath it and stop Jalen Hurts isn't going to happen. Jalen Hurts set a record for rushing touchdowns by a quarterback in the NFL playoffs.
Broke Steve Young's record,
Steve Young's. I mean, like, that play is so tough to beat that, what are you supposed to do?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm busy tweeting out a photo of Big Dom and Pete Davidson. What a world.
What did you think of the whole run of plays down here? It was literally right here at the goal line, right behind us.
I just think the notion of awarding a touchdown is beyond junk to me. That is complete participation trophy, avocado toast junk. And
to break out that rule in this moment is
he's trying to
absurd.
time the snap, and they're going hard count.
Absolutely absurd.
Like, he's trying to time the snap, and they're going hard count. I mean, was it a little over the top? He was kind of smiling and laughing about it. But to me, that's the NFL's problem with, half the distance.
Right.
Like, that's the problem,
It is.
Hey, Pete.
You want to tell DC how you're feeling right now?
Oh, no.
What do you think of Jaden Daniels?
Oh, man, he's incredible. I mean, to be a rookie and not play like a rookie is pretty incredible. They should be very happy, and they're going to be a scary team next year.
What's your excitement level watching these guys?
Your guys. Oh, today, I mean, you see your team go to the Super Bowl is very exciting.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Yeah, but I hope the Commanders are happy with their season because they did an amazing job.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take care.
Be good.
Take care,
Be good.
Man. Well, that was cool.
Yep. There we go.
He couldn't be nicer.
Yeah, nicest guy ever.
Changed my opinion. I don't know that I had much, but now I think he's awesome.
Anyways, let's get back to the tush push.
I don't care about it. Do you care?
It's
like we're pushing.
We're sitting at a point. Listen, it ended up not mattering, but this ref crew.
You want to get existential about the tush push? Fire away.
This reffing crew has a history, and I'm not saying there was a difference to make because the difference was the Commanders' turnovers. Period. Full stop. However, it's absolute junk that in the NFC Championship game, the NFL is breaking out a rule that's very
awarded touchdown.
Yeah, Rule 11, line 13. Dash 2-3.
I totally agree. I totally agree. I thought the late hit on Samerstill, returns freezing. I don't know if that's just return.
Yeah.
The late hit on Samerstill I hated. I think Saquon turned like he was going to go upfield when Mikey went to hit him.
Right. There was a freeze frame of you see Saquon lowering the shoulder, and Samerstill in play, starting his motion towards him. Listen, in this day and age in the NFL, Saquon had 2 feet out of bounds. Like, they're going to call that every single time. But we saw it. We've seen it with Pat Mahomes in the playoffs where they, tiptoe by the sidelines and try and, draw the unsportsmanlike. Just like with Kenny Pickett in college when he did that, fake slide thing.
Yeah.
Like, the NFL needs to address this in the offseason and figure it out. But, we're sitting here breaking down a 32-point loss in the NFC Championship game, and
dude, hell of a year. I thought Jaden was fantastic as usual. We've gotten used to Jaden being fantastic. I mean, technically he had the interception late when they're just chucking it up, trying to make plays. I'm not worried about that.
And that's the thing.
What Jaden did with his legs in this game was really good.
As you get to 55 points, it's going to look really bad.
He converted a 4th down when he lost his shoe. You remember that early in this thing?
He did.
I thought Luvu was terrific tonight.
Luvu was absolutely.
Dude, I mean, the play he made on 3rd down, he had that sack. There was a number of moments where it felt like Washington was still in this thing.
He broke through the line on that third. They were at the 40. They had a 45-yard field goal set up. He breaks through the line. It ends up being a 54-yarder.
Right, they had to punt.
Jake Elliott goes out there and misses it wide right over there. Listen, the Eagles are going to the Super Bowl, so they're going to do their thing. I can't imagine that the plan can be Jake Elliott moving forward because that dude has missed a ton of kicks this year. But they won the football game, and that's I guess really all that matters. Do you want to do game balls and goats? I
I have specific plays written down. I love Jaden converting a 4th down while he didn't have. He only had 1 shoe on. Tress. The fake punt.
Dude, so he said, I was talking to Tress in the locker room, and he said Marcus Mariota came over to him and said, hey, man, way to split the safeties. He's like, that's a really good throw. And Tress is like, good thing it split him because I only saw 1.
He dropped a dime, though.
It was a nice throw.
I love that they called the fake there. I mean, DQ has fostered this culture.
The unbridled aggression.
Yeah, totally. And, dude, fans saw this one way. I kind of was worried it might go a different way. I think organizationally, they knew this was a kitchen sink game.
Oh,
this
absolutely.
Was everything we got to go with here. All right, I wrote Tress down.
How about let's start with the opening drive. To go 15 plays, 7.5 minutes, couple 4th down conversions.
You think they should have kept going when they kicked?
I think they probably should have kept going, but at the end of the day, I'm not here to argue about it, one way or the other. But to open a game with a 7.5 minute drive is really setting a tone.
Sure.
Now, granted, Saquon on the first play for Philly goes for a touchdown and unwinds all that, but it doesn't change the fact that these guys came out. We've discussed early game struggles this season, and in an NFC Championship to start out with that kind of drive is pretty impressive.
At one point, Saquon was averaging 32 yards per carry.
Well, he was averaging 60 yards a carry after 1, and then he had 2 carries for 61 yards and 2 touchdowns.
I'm done with if we can just limit the explosives. That's what he does. He does them to every team.
Yeah.
And, I mean,
that's who he is.
The only dude having a worse night, Washington's having an emotional reaction to a thumping in the title game, okay? The only dude having a worse night is John Mara and maybe Joe Shane. The fact that Saquon's doing this on this,
the Giants.
I mean, the fact that Saquon's doing this on this scale, and
especially
when the owners said, "Are you sure we shouldn't let this dude go? He's the most popular guy on the team."
The Giants' hard knocks
situation gosh.
Is wild.
Goats, dude. I got some here.
The De'Ami Brown fumble early was tough.
Lattimore is a goat.
Yeah.
Eckler gets a fumble.
The
Jeremy
fumble
McNichols
so
fumble.
Tough. The McNichols one.
Dude, I mean, you're just not going to win that way. I thought A.J. Brown not getting penalized was junk. The refs absolutely get one.
Absolutely.
I thought the refs were bad.
The refs were not just It wasn't even medium. They were just
Saquon
bad.
holding Luvu on that
on
the fourth down. Yeah.
On that throw to AJ.
Yeah.
And listen, Lattimore didn't have a good game, but early on in that game, he had the pass breakup to AJ Brown, and then the fourth down play.
I think the fourth down, it was a perfect throw, perfect catch.
Sometimes as a DB,
I
you just
agree
get
with
beat,
that.
and
right.
that was.
But
a
then all the
perfect
other
throw.
stuff,
right now. Now you look back on it, it's
right.
one of many things that went south. But
dude, in the 2 previous games, they had 8 penalties for 66 yards. Tonight they had 9 for 47. So the 2 playoff wins, 8 penalties. The loss, 9 penalties. And then the turnovers, obviously, they finish -4 in turnover. It's just you're not winning.
And they focused so much on eliminating Jalen Carter, and they did a really good job of it, and that he wasn't in the –
And Jordan Davis.
And then Jordan Davis came through. And that's what happens when – what everyone imagined with Deron Payne and John Allen is what we're seeing with Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, because those 2 guys are game wreckers, and you can stop one of them, but the other one steps up and makes plays. But
how about the face mask on the Jaden sack? I wrote that down. It was junk. My wife was going nuts about that one.
Shout out Mrs. Finlay for
pointing
it out.
Fired up,
she was
dude.
sending pictures.
Yeah. She was taking screen grabs from the TV.
How about the Jalen Carter encroachment, where he gets a full hand inside of Biadish's face mask?
He said it was like he punched him.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a 5-yard penalty, but there's plenty of places that you could have called that a 15. If you're going to call the shenanigans that you're calling down here, trying to award a touchdown or whatever, you gotta give them the right of way. The other direction.
My synopsis from this game: the refs were bad, the turnovers were bad, Philly was better.
Yes.
I think without the turnovers, I think if this is a neutral ref crew and they each have 1 turnover, I think Philly's winning that thing.
I think, listen, Philly played, I opened up saying it, Philly played the same way Washington did in Detroit. Borderline flawless. They got turnovers when they needed it. They got big first downs when they needed it. The defense stepped up when they needed it. Sometimes you just got to tip your cap and
I agree.
Say,
they played really well.
Good job.
I'll be rooting for whoever makes it from the AFC, but Philly played really
Hopefully the Bills are winning the Super Bowl.
I don't even know. DJ, give me a Bills
score update.
Bills-Chiefs update.
I think I saw 10-7 last.
Do we have stuff to do?
We have stuff to do.
And I want to be clear, man. I want to be crystal clear. This has still been an awesome year, and hopefully people are really excited. 14-10 Chiefs, Daryl says.
Chiefs 14-10. We have our stuff to get through.
No, but hold on. This has been a fantastic
year. I think that's a good place.
No, because it's not going to be that. But it's okay to be pissed about them getting their ass kicked in the NFC title game, because the goal is to win and go to the Super Bowl. A lot of things can be true at once. Fantastic year. I don't want anybody to think we're being downers, but you play to win the game, and they didn't come up here to lose. Those guys were pissed off in the locker room, and that's the way it should be.
I really hope that we're not coming off as downers here, because it has been.
Well, if there was a live chat, we'd know. We would know.
Listen, by this time next year, by the start of next year, I'm putting my foot on the table. We're gonna have it. We're gonna have a live chat.
What is the there's a line in Top Gun where it says you're writing checks your butt can't cash.
Yeah.
Can you cash that check? The live chat check?
Yes. If
you're gonna put me in, DJ.
You know what? Doubt me.
Okay.
All you want.
Consider yourself doubted.
Doubted. I know.
Isn't that like a big internet build out thing? Coding?
Do you know
what's your coding?
You know how good these fingers are? They do a lot of good work. Listen, this was an incredible season, and it sucks to end it a 55-23 loss, but you can be frustrated in the moment and give yourself time to recognize.
We'll have another pod later this week.
It'll be
all roses and rainbows.
Roses and rainbows.
We're
going to just
do the stuff.
Fire through the stuff. Brought to you by BetMGM. All of our lines. Started 100 chips.
Oh, yeah, MGM National Harbor. I don't even know we mentioned.
We haven't.
Shout out to them and Oarsman. We love them all. They don't want to be mentioned in this pod anyway.
100 chips. I came in with.
How's that voice going?
Voice is fine. A little cough in there. I came in plus 160. I had the 3-team parlay, which we only have a 2-teamer up here, which is fine. Austin Eckler over 22.5. Commanders plus 6.5 didn't hit, but the other 2 parts, Eckler and Jaden over pass attempts did. I end up the
So if you
postseason,
get 2 out of 3 on a parlay, what's that pay you?
The same thing that
0 out of 3.
The same thing that your Commanders money line paid.
Here's my vote: is let's just stop doing the stuff in ass kickings.
I know that you hate stuff, but
I don't mind the stuff.
There's a little bit of sponsorship stuff here. Anyways, over unders, we're tied 1-1. Jaden Daniels, 223.5 passing yards.
Both went over.
Both went over. Right? He was over. Running back rushing yards was 63.5.
Ooh.
I went under. JP went over. They were under it. And then we did fourth down attempts plus Saquon 10-plus yard runs at 8.5.
I swear I went under and you went over. I feel like I would have never have gone over on the running back rush yards.
I believe we both went. Anyways, we'll double check.
See, now you don't care about this stuff.
in a 55-23 loss in the NFC Championship,
and
the stuff only matters so much.
And the lights
are turning off.
How do we look in the dark?
Nowhere close. Let's just get to Dominion National.
Hold on. What about whatever that other thing was? Something about Saquon.
Fourth down attempts plus Saquon 10-plus yard runs. We set the number at 8.5. I went over. You went over. It was over.
How many 10-yard runs did he have? I feel like it might have only been 3 or 4.
I think, but how many fourth down conversions did the Commanders have?
A bunch.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We got over.
Whatever. I was just. It's dark. It's cold.
Let's get to teethkeepers.com.
There's a lot of people here. Good for you for still singing that tune.
I'm happy I'm not screaming. I wish I was screaming Holy Potatoes for a good reason, but I'm not screaming
You
Holy Potatoes.
imagine if you had to scream Holy Potatoes with Pete Davidson and Big Dom walking around and the
probably not done with Big
hundreds of Eagles fans that are here?
Anyways, What Makes You Smile is brought to you by Dominion National. Visit them at teethkeepers.com, where they provide high-quality dental and vision benefits to all individuals. Enroll today. Teethkeepers.com. JP.
Proud of you.
What made you smile?
You singing with all these people around might be it.
You know that I am a shameless man.
Yeah.
And never more than after a butt-kicking in an NFC Championship game here at the Link.
The whole season, certainly, and then the emotion in that locker room, certainly, and knowing some of these guys and the hours they put in and everything. I fear – I mean, these things are hard to do. It's a hard thing to accomplish. Yes. And, we're all just going to assume be there next year or whatever. I mean, ask Lamar.
You hope so, but
there's a lot of folks you can ask. Ask Josh Allen. I mean, the Chiefs are leading. I don't know what made me smile, honestly. It wasn't a lot. I loved the fight of this team early on.
Yeah.
I hated seeing the turnovers, and you felt like there was some puck luck overdue there when you go +6 through 2. But then I kind of thought it'd be even because the Eagles were also +6 through 2.
And the Commanders hadn't turned over the Eagles enough either the first 2 games, nonetheless this one.
Right.
It's something that, it's got to change. Obviously, Joe Witt's big on that.
I'll tell you what made me smile is last night we went to the rally. Tailgate Ted put it together. It was at Hard Rock Cafe in Philly. They did the actual physical restaurant did a great job, and just all the people there. It was so much fun. People that listen to the pod, people that listen to the radio show. There's a dude from Ireland, a dude from Idaho.
Tony Wheat, baby.
Yeah, dude. Like the passion the fans have, and we did the live show there, and it was a blast. We did all ears from there, and getting to do something like that. The rallies are always fun, right? Like, there's never a doubt the rallies are fun. But when it's week 6 in Jacksonville, cool.
Right.
But when it's week 20 before the NFC title game in Philadelphia, it means something different.
Yeah.
And it was an excellent experience. Shout out to Tailgate Ted for putting all that together and all the NBC crew for working their ass off to make that look good.
Absolutely.
That made me smile. But that was yesterday.
I'm going to kind of double down on the reemergence of the fan base.
Sure.
We walked the parking lots before.
Yeah.
We hung out with a couple different groups of folks that rented buses and, planes, trains, and automobiles their way up to Philly.
There were a lot of fans here.
There were a lot of fans
here deserve
for an
credit.
NFC Championship game. There were a lot of fans
Totally.
here. And it was cool to see it. It was great to see it. That made me smile. One cool moment, I don't know where this fits in, but Zach Ertz obviously had a huge day today.
Awesome.
As he's running off the field, right here, the entire Eagles fan base
really cool.
is cheering.
It was like a standing O.
I mean, you get a little bit of
goosebumps. He
was emotional.
Yeah,
he was very emotional.
That was very cool.
It's been an incredible season. I just want to thank a couple folks who have helped us out along the way. JP, first of all, you.
No.
It's been a ton of fun doing it.
I don't get thanked. I don't think you and I get thanked.
Corey, our editors, Corey Skloff, Joey Sabat, Kyle.
Are we canceled? Is that what's happening here?
No.
Okay. I don't know. We're thanking everybody.
Yeah,
sounds like we're canceled, right,
DJ? Those guys worked their butts off all season to help make us look good and make these things
Corey,
happen.
Joey, Harrison, Kyle.
Harrison. all of our photographers.
Amanda Zimmer,
Daryl Johnson,
DJ,
Bill Hobson,
not
Greg
Abs,
Abernathy.
not Abs.
He
How many games did Abs work?
Abs did like 3 games.
L.A. Like where did we go? Where was the best trip that
New
Abs
Orleans.
worked his way in?
New Orleans and Tampa.
Yeah.
Actually Daryl did. He did Tampa the first time around. So, but
shout out to DJ.
A lot of folks across the board that helped us over at Monumental Sports. Just want to thank everybody. It's been a ton of fun.
Even the brass, like the top that we often make. Ethan's been great. Cadeau, I think is how it's pronounced.
Cadeau? I tell him I get it wrong every time.
Cadeau. Yeah, but even like the bosses, dude, they green-lighted something that they hadn't before, and we appreciate that.
And we look forward to doing this next year, expanding everything we're doing. It's been a ton of fun.
I look forward to finding my gloves.
I also want to thank everyone who still listens to the podcast and tunes in there, because as much fun as the live stream TV stuff, backbone of where we came from are the listeners. Thank you.
Let's go. Mid as far out your beer.